See. Episode 149. Welcome into the Bench is Clear podcast, where we cover the best rivalry in all of sports. I am Jesse Gutierrez, and I represent the side of the San Francisco Giants, who were over 500 this week, but still suck.
And I'm Dave, representing the Dodgers side, who got a lot of players back, and somehow we still are finding a way to be sad about it. So we'll talk about it.
I don't think there's not really much around the league. We probably should have talked about this a little bit before we started the pod, but there's nothing really much to talk around the league that I can really think of, unless we want to geek over Jerkson Profar's amazing play. Do we want to talk about how good San Diego is, or is that a good segue into why you're depressed?
No, not even a little. But I mean, the Diamondbacks are just as good, right? They won't stop winning. But no, I mean, everybody knew once, health-wise, everybody came back. It was going to be a little difficult to keep everybody in on the team. It doesn't help that they got Kiermaier, and then he started he's like, hey, I learned how to play again. I found the joy again, so let me just ball out, and made it even tougher. So today we got the news that Jason Hayward was DFA'd. Freddie Freeman's best friend is gone. And I think it's the right choice, obviously.
Yeah, you've been clamoring for that for a little bit, haven't you?
I think when you have Kiermaier on the team, he's the defensive replacement. Obviously, he doesn't have the same pop. So, that's the argument. Hayward can come out off the bench like he did before he was DFA'd and hit a 3-run shot. But, you got a lot of guys with versatility now. And Hayward was basically right field, maybe a little bit of center field. So the move makes a lot of sense. Emotionally, a lot of Dodger fans are not taking it well because he's such a good guy in the clubhouse and everything. But
right.
I feel like you got enough leaders in there to be okay. This is what Roberts is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be leading them. So it's the right move. Does it suck a little? Maybe, because you grown to love the player, and the person, but. I think it's the right call.
Yeah, I think that Hayward's leadership, in a Dodger clubhouse, is probably not as needed as, say, if the Giants lost someone like that. So, once again, just Dodger fans drowning in riches, crying about nothing. That's where we're at.
I found it a little funny that we were we didn't have much to argue about. So we're arguing about Ahmed Rosario versus Nick Ahmed. And now we're arguing versus Kiermaier versus Hayward. We must be doing pretty well everywhere else if those are the guys we're arguing about. But
yeah. I mean, I guess technically we DFA'd Nick Ahmed too, but shit. Nick Ahmed just run through the NLS.
One home run, legend.
Well, I mean, I think we have a lot to talk about when we're talking about our last weeks, and the tones might be a little different. I mean, so let's get into these Dodger Giant weeks, and I'm gonna go first because I could just be sad boy, and then you could be fake sad boy, crying in your Lamborghini, eating steak and lobster, while I'm over here with one sock trying to afford a freaking McDouble. So technically the Giants were at 500 this week. Technically, they split the series in Oakland. It was the last Bay Bridge series. The Giants took it home because they won the last game. That's the rules. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. I mean, we could go over how you're sad for Oakland fans and stuff.
But you're too sad yourself to be worried about how sad they are.
That's true. Oh, thanks, Dave. We could. I hate to say I don't want to talk about it because I just want to be sad about my own situation because that's what it's going to be. But Oakland fans, you can't say anything You can't like it. We've been saying the same thing all year. It sucks. John Fisher's a bitch. Um, and all the memes are great. And it sucks. I mean, yeah, major league players probably shouldn't be playing in the Coliseum unless obviously they can afford to remodel and revamp and all that kind of stuff, but they're not going to do it. So it sucks for the Oakland fans. Really bummed for you guys, but it's just possums in the in the broadcast booth aren't exactly a good look either. So sorry, Oakland fans, but we're being depressed Giant fans right now. Split in Oakland, it's not that big of a deal because Oakland is playing better. But you just win the series at home against the White Sox, and you can't really be upset usually to not get a sweep. But this is like one of the most historic bad teams, at least in recent history, you could say.
And you were
And
one
when
strike
you're
away.
about to go into a gauntlet of good teams and you're capping off your easy run, this is one you just needed, man. Like, I mean, you could get, I mean, to really microscope into that game because, I mean, what sucks about the White Sox is you win a game, everyone's like, well, yeah, and then you lose it, it's the end of the world. But in this case, I'm jumping on that train because I feel that's what's going on right now. I think the Giants season, I'm stamping them dead. I think we're done. Because we're done. We're finished. We're 3.5 games out of the last wild card spot, and we're about to go into a gauntlet. So to face that easy schedule of August, a game over 500 in the same spot, I'm pretty sure, but coming out of the All-Star break, we were like 4.5 back, maybe. I mean, it was a different team because Atlanta was at the first wild card spot. And I think either the Mets were there or the Padres were there. So to only gain a game on that spot on that easy schedule, then all of a sudden you think you're going to gain, 4 games over Atlanta when you're playing teams like, I mean, I guess the Mariners have been shitty too. Right now they're under 500. So, but you got everybody. You got Baltimore coming up. You got the Padres, Arizona, which, those are the teams you're chasing. You got to beat them, but you're also chasing the Braves who beat the piss out of you for 3 out of 4. So I don't know, man. I think we're out. I think we're done. I think the hitting is just so fucking trash. It is extremely frustrating to watch. And to anyone that listen, the game they lost, Logan Webb could have went out for the 9th. It is coming out that he was sick, and then it's even rumored that he's maybe getting a little gassed. That there's a little bit of health issues that he was on a pitch limit. I don't know exactly what that means, but to not send them out for the 9th makes sense. Ryan Walker, Tyler Rogers have been used like crazy. So to not use them in the 9th, especially when Eric Miller loaded the bases, I could see that too. Everyone who is clamoring of why would you put Spencer Bivens out there? It's like, okay, who else? Sean Jelly, he's easily could have gave up a single up the middle like Bivens did. Tyler Rogers, who has been, I mean, his numbers for the year are great, but they have been so scared to use him for some reason. And he's, I don't know, it seems like in tight situations, he can't handle himself, which is weird because he was a closer. But, I don't know, to zoom in on just one guy who comes in, with the bases loaded, 2 outs, you're supposed to only get 1 out, but still gives up a couple singles. To be like, oh, why'd you put Spencer Bivens is on this team, dude? Like, I don't know. I mean,
the dude won the World Series when he struck out Ohtani twice.
Yeah, that's true.
So his credentials are there. If you want to cry about why he's in, go back to that game. That's right. Why he's here. All right.
He's a World Series champion. He was probably honestly already thinking about his vacation because he was like, dude, I won the World Series. Why are we still playing baseball?
Or his Hall of Fame speech that he was, conjuring up while he was pitching. So, you never know.
Yeah, apparently. I love Spencer Bivens, and I'm not going to be like, oh, why you put him? Then why is he on the fucking roster if he can't be put in? I mean, it's not like, I don't know. I understand there's better options, but if those options are gas too, this is the worst fucking team in baseball. Not only the worst team in baseball, but one of the worst teams ever assembled in the history of baseball. They are historically bad. If you can't trust Spencer Bivens to get one out, what are we doing?
Have
here?
You seen the Mariners though? Like you're talking about their offense. You know how frustrating it must be. Like they have the best pitching staff, or maybe one of the, and they just can't hit.
But Farhan, the Giants have the best rotation in baseball, so you might need to take that back. So.
All right, well that's why I said one of the. But you know, I feel like you guys are the same team struggling. If they even had a little bit of offense, I saw a stat somewhere like if they were even like mediocre, they'd be running away with the division. The pitching is that good, but they can't hit.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think and numbers are showing the Giants are a little better than the Mariners offensively, but the Mariners are better than the Giants on the pitching side of the ball. And gosh, they're under 500. So technically record wise, it's also showing that the Giants are a better team. So we're playing the Giants version, the American League version of the Giants. I was going to say a better version of the Giants, but at the same time, they're under 500 right now, and we're one game over, which means ipso facto, we're better. So think about that.
There you go.
Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, all that.
So just before I let you get on with your thing, I'm gonna let you finish. You know what? I'm gonna save this rant to my last thing I want to talk about today. But just ending on this month of shitty teams going into to this gauntlet you're about to face. You know, there's just so many games that were so winnable that would have completely changed the scope of the season. I mean, you needed to sweep the Tigers that you couldn't do. You needed to at least split against the Braves at home. I mean, there's just so many, like you needed to not get spanked at Dodger Stadium for 3 out of 4 when they're down Mookie Betts and they're down, you know, they're pitching River Ryan and, you know, Wayne Gretzky over there. I just, you turn half of those things into wins. We're in such a better, we're in that spot. This team is not showing that they're a contending team. They're not showing that they have the fight in them when they're playing inferior teams. So why can we expect them to do that when they're playing better teams? So I'm calling the season dead. And I'm also going to call something probably even a little worse a little bit later, but that's called foreshadowing, storytelling. I'm a great storyteller too. So obviously,
all right. It's sad and it's a mix of emotions because I'm happy, I'm sad. I don't understand what's going on. You're already giving up. We're not even in September. I don't know how to take it, you know. Mm-hmm. So okay. I mean, I'm sure you'll change your mind. Both of these teams seem to do better when they face better competition sometimes.
I fucking hope so.
So we'll see. We'll see if you're like a little.
Well, they're under 500 against. They have a pretty bad record against teams over 500. So,
all right. Well, then maybe just my team. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope you're right.
As for the
Dodgers, love to come on here next week and be like, "Oh, dude, we're so back," but I doubt it. So we'll see.
As for the Dodgers, every time it seems like they're getting healthy, it's like we're just gonna trade one guy who's healthy for one that has to leave now. That's exactly what happened when we started the series with the Cardinals. They lost Tyler Glasnow. So, and, you know, they're like, oh, well, it might be 15 days. That, you know, just enough for him to get better. Then it came out, well, maybe it might be more than that. So we don't know. But, I mean, it didn't really derail them because they were able to get 2 out of 3 in St. Louis. And they swept the Mariners. So, pretty good week with Muncy. I mean, it's just such a completely different team. For all those people who were like, well, what's going on with them? Why aren't they supposed to be this great team? Well, I mean, you just put Muncy back in that lineup and it just changes everything. Now suddenly you got Will Smith batting 7th. You got Tommy Edman batting 9th. You know, so it's just a completely different feel. Now they're looking like the team they're supposed to be. and now they got another big challenge with the Rays and the Orioles coming up soon. So successful weekend. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, and then they come home and take the first 3. So I'm pretty happy. I know you're
This is
not,
why.
but I'm on the opposite side. I'm just thrilled.
This is why I can't stand you people. I'm gonna go you people. You
but
fucking
we
people.
have
You
to,
guys are
but we
so
have to
upset
find
about a
something to be
5
sad
in
about.
1 week.
We have to find something to be sad about. Come on.
But do you
So,
though? I mean,
we gotta be sad about Hayward. We gotta be sad about something. We can't have it
I
all.
understand being sad about Tyler Glass now. That makes sense. Is Yamamoto supposed to be coming back at any point, or
Yeah,
what's the deal on
he
him?
he threw a simulated game today. Was it today or yesterday?
Okay.
So he had done like an inning with Bush Stadium. I guess it was too hot. Whatever. The mound was weird. They're like, whatever, that's fine. They came home. He did 2 innings, 3 innings, something. So maybe by mid-September he should be back. That's the goal. So hopefully he is.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, not that I would feel sorry for you, but I feel like even if you were I don't know, Orioles fan, which, in the same scenario and situation, yeah, I can't feel bad for you. I mean, you went 5 and 1. I think I know last week we were talking about, Padres, Diamondbacks, they're knocking on the back door. They're right there. They're breathing down your neck. But I think
But
they were 2 games back, right?
I think I said it multiple times, man. I'm like, I'm not going to be worried. I'm like, they can literally catch up to us. And I think as if the lineup comes back and is healthy, I think we can
Right.
take off. So I think that's exactly what's going to happen because a whole week went by. I think we had the same record as the Padres, or 1 game better, and we're up by 4 now. So even though they're going through this hot stretch, sorry, we didn't really lose much. We're back. We're gaining our ground again. So
Right.
If the offense holds up, we should be okay.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're still the Padres. And I feel like they're gonna fuck it up. They're gonna mess it up at some point. They could get into the playoff. I mean, and I'm talking this as like a baseball standpoint, not in a Giants Padres standpoint, because I'm already declaring it's dead. I think it's a done, wasted season, and yeah, that's where we're at. So, but I think the Padres, it's like I think 2 games is as close as they're gonna get. They might get to 2 games again, maybe, but I don't know. I think they have nowhere to go from here but down. So, unfortunately, I would
Maybe
love it if the Dodgers didn't
they,
win the West.
yeah, right. That's not gonna happen. I don't know if I'm more worried about the D-backs catching up or the Padres catching up, but I mean, one of them gets the T's back, so that should give them an extra jolt of energy as well. So,
right, and
we'll see.
there's so many dumb Padre fans that are like, we don't even want Tatis back right now. Like we're playing so well without him. Who the fuck doesn't want Fernando Tatis on your team? Like,
I mean, if you're calling me spoiled, what is that?
yeah, that's crazy. Like, okay, then DFA him, dude. Call me up.
Yeah.
I'll take him for whatever you want.
In no world would I ever say something like, I want Geeke to start the rest of the year at third because we're playing so well that we don't need Muncy.
Right.
It would never happen.
Yeah, and then even from Muncy to Kike is not even close to who they have in that stead. I don't even know who's playing right. Oh, I think it's David Peralta. Who's actually doing pretty well for them right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be real. David Peralta is not going to be doing that well for the rest of the year.
Exactly. Like he's serving his purpose right now. You're getting what you wanted out of him right now, so that when your guy comes back, you don't miss a beat. He wasn't. He's not going to take over the starting job in right field. But
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of outfielders, man, you probably saw it, probably didn't. But Randy Arozarena, did you see that yesterday?
First of all, my Mexican brother, Randy Arozarena, you can't. I don't care if he was the biggest crybaby. I don't care if he was like Madison Bumgarner level crybaby. I'm always gonna, have his back and love what he does. So, I don't know what happened, but fuck you, I'm taking his side. So, what happened?
You're right. You're right. Look, this is a player that when he's on your team, you love him. When he's not playing against your team, you still love him. But when he's playing against your team and he's not on your team, obviously, yeah, you're gonna hate a little,
Right, of
I
course.
think that's the kind of player that he is. But so he got hit. Flaherty hit him, and it wasn't intentional. It clearly wasn't
Probably
intentional.
but okay.
They both Flaherty laughed. They stared at each other for quite a while, but after that was done, they both gave themselves a
Right.
a thumbs up, and
Okay.
I thought that was the end of it. That should have been the end of it. But the next at bat, I believe, I don't know if Flaherty was the one that said something or Arozarena, but they exchanged words again, and so the rest of the night, Arozarena was just leering into the dugout of the Dodgers, and he was upset, and the guy was 0 for 28. He broke that streak yesterday. Thankfully, got a hit. Good for him. But I mean, you're worried about the wrong things, guy.
I don't
It was
know if
fitting.
if
It
a
was fitting how
pitcher's
many.
yelling at me after he hit me, I'm gonna be a little pissed off.
It was a
I
little
don't know.
fitting that during their onslaught of scoring runs, it was all to left field. Like they had him running all over the place, and then to end the game, he struck out. So he didn't really fare well. It didn't go well for him yesterday.
I don't want to talk about too much because the Giants are playing the Mariners first next week. So, but hopefully he goes on another 0 for 20. 0 for 20. I think that's how many at bats you probably get in a series. So another 0 for 20. I would like that. But at the same time, it's Randy Arozarena. That's my guy. So he can start hitting after
thank
that.
us. You can thank us for waking him up.
No, why would I thank you for that? So I know I declared us dead, but I also
he's gonna go terrorize the rest of the league.
I also reserve the right to to come back in. They keep reeling me back in. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that's what it's gonna be all year long with you.
Yeah,
You're teetering
exactly.
on leaving, but then you close the door and come right back in. So
I'm an emotional wreck. I'm an emotional roller coaster over here. Like they win a couple series, especially against the two teams they're about to play. I'm in. We're going to the World Series, baby. It's in. So
but that's what's best about being a fan, though. The roller coaster of it, because there's a lot of people that are like, well, I've done that before. Like, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry about this now. But it's like, no, you be mad if you want to. Like, go ahead, because then when you're happy, it's that much of a high. So, yeah,
maybe that's why Dodger fans are such crybabies. They're just like, we gotta over exaggerate everything because we always win 100 games every year. So
I'm gonna attribute your hate and your pain because your team sucks, and so I'm gonna let it slide today. But just know that it's gonna wear down, and then I'm gonna come back with some insults later.
Right? No, Ed, you're not gonna be able to wear me down because I'm like fucking Kendrick. Okay, I'm your biggest hater. I hate the way you walk, the way you dress, everything. So I'll go all day for the rest of my life.
I respect that, but you'll do it from outside the playoffs.
And at the moment, I'm gonna agree with you because we are fucking dead. And let's talk about. I guess we're not really gonna talk about that too much, but I think it's time, and I should be happy because I think it's time for everyone's favorite show and everyone's favorite segment. But I think it's that time, Dave.
Do it. Hit it.
Let's do it.
It's that time again. It's the start of the dud of the week. It's time the dud of the week.
Yeah, studs and duds, baby. We are here.
Do you even have any studs? Is your team full of duds right now, or?
You know what's kind of weird is like there is some guys who had pretty good weeks, decently numbers wise, but they got hits and stuff in non-important situations. So, I'm going to give up to my guy Heliot Ramos, who is my stud this week. He's up and down, up and down, and up and down. I'm glad that he's back on his ups. Got a 905 OPS last week with a bomb. Trying to get back into a game. So, no, I'm a liar to go ahead. So it was actually a pretty big home run this time. So, yeah, Heliot Ramos, the real deal, someone to build around. He's in you need these guys, right? I don't think Heliot Ramos is a guy who's going to, go for an MVP, but I don't think it's crazy to think that Heliot Ramos can't be a guy who is close to, if not an all-star, every year. He's still young. He's 24, 25 right now. So, he's got another 5-6 years of his prime. Very good, solid player to build around for the next coming years, because as you heard, waste of a season, we're fucking done and dead. So it kind of came out of nowhere too, because obviously this year, just in general, he was the great prospect that never panned out, and now he's starting to pan out. He's so young, so don't give up on these guys. So everyone that's talking shit about Luis Matos and how they need to get rid of him, learn your lesson. Be better.
Hey, who's a perfect example of that? Gavin Lux.
Oh, Gavin Lux, I think, sucks. So.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's just having a good moment. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Again,
that's another thing too. I feel like the Dodgers, I don't know, man. I feel like we're seeing the beginning of the end with the Dodgers, because they haven't had like one of their big time prospects be like a guy. I think Lux was, even if he starts being who he is right now, that would mean he's a solid player. It doesn't, but he's not like the Corey Seagers or the Cody Bellingers or,
But that would be such a good argument if you didn't have number 17. You're making it seem like we're dependent on those guys, because when Dalton Rushing comes up, we're not going to be dependent on him. He's going to be able to grow because he's batting freaking 8th, and he's looked really solid.
All I know is a couple years ago, they were talking about, oh my gosh, the next wave of Dodger prospects are going to be so good. We've been hearing that like a couple times, and they're just cycling out, turning out to be nothing at the moment. James Outman doesn't look like he's going to be shit.
I don't think he was ever supposed to be a superstar, though.
Huh?
I don't think he was ever going to be a superstar, though.
But he was he was a top 100 prospect. Same thing with Miguel Vargas. And I get it. I'm not trying to talk shit about Shohei. I'm just saying I think it's the beginning of the end, because you got Shohei long term, you got Mookie Betts long term, you still got 3 more years after this, or 2 more years of Freddie Freeman.
I think a lot of those guys, there's a couple that might be up before it's too late, but a lot of those guys are probably coming up when Freddie's done. You got a lot of young guys in AA and that are going to come up at that time.
I'm just saying.
We don't need them right now, but there will come up.
Right.
The guys that we got from Chicago, Jackson Ferris, that guy's been electric down there. He almost threw a no-hitter. You got DePaula, who's going to be up just in time for this team when they're moving guys around. So, I get it. There's maybe the last one was Will Smith. Maybe he's the last one of the crop. But
right.
It wasn't too far long ago. Bellinger was hitting bombs and helped us win a World Series, and Seager, and so.
But that's what I'm saying. I think you guys haven't developed one of those guys in a while, so I think this might be the beginning of the end, because you have so many big contracts. And I'm not saying beginning of the end meaning, hey, the next 2 years. I'm saying, I'll be honest with you, when every single time the Dodgers call up a prospect and they're rookie of the year going to be a MVP candidate, and then they sign Freddie Freeman. First Mookie, but then they sign Mookie Betts, and then they find Freddie Freeman. And they're still calling up guys killing it, and then they sign Ohtani. And those points, you're like, when is this going to fucking end? All right,
Never.
Everyone goes through highs and lows years, and I feel like we see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's far away still, but we can see the light. So
I feel like you're dreaming, and that's fine. Because the amount of money that Shohei brings is endless. So plus, all this does is just give those guys more times to marinate down in the minors.
He's one dude. He can't carry the whole thing. Why don't you just ask everyone in Anaheim?
It was one dude, and we had half of the roster was gone, and look where we're at. It'll be okay. It's not. Andrew develops guys at. Andrew Freeman gets guys at He gets a bunch of guys. It will be fine.
We're on first name basis with these presidents of baseball operations.
Andrew,
don't worry about
and
Farhan,
Andrew. Dude.
Andy,
let me get him up on the phone right now.
A-Rod, Big A-Dog.
I can it's hopeful the way you're
Right.
saying it, and you're like, I can
Right.
see a little dot over
100%.
there, and I think it's done. But it doesn't end like that. It's not gonna go down like that, unfortunately.
But it could.
It could, but it
Thank you.
won't.
All right, that's all. That's it. Sorry. So we're actually technically in studs and duds. We just went on a complete tangent. So go
Well, let me
ahead.
give you
You
my
can go
dud
ahead.
first. And
Okay.
yeah, let me give
Let's
my
mix
dud
and
first so I
match
can
it,
end with a
baby.
good note. And I hate to do this because I love him. He's been one of my favorite players for a while since he's been a Dodger. But when you're in a tight race, it's hard to justify giving this guy keep giving him starts. And Walker Buehler has just been it's second Tommy John coming back from it. It's even harder coming back from that. We know that. So um it's tough, man. He only went 6 innings twice, I think, this year. Everything else has either been from 3 to 5, maybe. And this is last start was 4 innings. Before that, it was 3. So he's taxing the bullpen as well. And you're just hoping that maybe, like, I don't know what the best case scenario is, that he starts game 4 for you. Because I mean, right now you might have better options with Kershaw and maybe even Gavin Stone in a pinch, because he had a great start his last his last start. So it's tough to watch, and I don't want him DFA'd, but at the same
Right.
time, like, I don't know what the solution is, because it's you see a guy and you wish he was the same guy, but you know he has to change. He has to find a
Right.
different way to approach the game now, because he's not the same dude. And he hasn't found that yet. And I think that he's going to find that in another uniform. Unfortunately,
Right.
I don't think his career's over by any means. I think he'll find a way to still be a good pitcher, but it's like we want him to rush it because we're in a race right now, and that's just not how it goes. And it's kind of unfair to the Dodgers, and it's unfair to him to expect that. So for that reason, the 2 bad starts, I have to give him the dud of the week, but it's understandable.
All right. Well, my dud is gonna go to Mike Yastrzemski. Gosh, his defense over there in right field doesn't slump, and that's great. There was a couple of points that I kind of want to make. I thought about making this about second base position and how bad it's been this year, and how Tyler Strada can save that. But I'm in depressed mode. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go into the catching situation. Patrick Bailey just completely just dropping off the face of the earth the second half, because he is just, it seems like he's just done.
Is it is this a pandemic with the catchers too, you think? There's been a lot of catchers who have had kind of like wearing down. You see it with Smith,
Right.
Bailey.
I don't know. That's a good point, because Patrick Bailey's so young and came up last year sooner than expected. I mean, he only had bad years in the minors offensively, than last year just had one great year that carried him to the major leagues and just was great. And then when it was the second half, it was like, oh, it's his first full season. And it wasn't even the second, it wasn't even like the second half. It was just like the last like month or two. It was like, oh, you could tell how tired he was. This year is more like second half. So you don't know if it's like just because he's young, getting used to a full season, if he's in this just bad of an offensive slump, because his defense isn't slumping. He's still up there with, the best defensive metrics, not only at the catching position, just in baseball. I think he's going to be a platinum glove candidate. But I didn't think about it with other catchers. I don't know if that's a thing. I just was thinking of Patrick Bailey, of just,
Yeah, because
he's
I
just
think
it's just his first time trying to go through a full season. So
yeah, because I mean, obviously Will Smith has been slumping, but also I think Rushman was having a down year. Murphy from the Braves is having a down year as well. I haven't looked too much into the stats to see how good, but I know Contreras is having a really good year. I haven't seen Real
right,
Muto, but I mean, it just seems like the big stars are not catchers.
right.
There's only there's very few.
Yeah,
So
and that's a good point. I mean, Patrick Bailey is definitely not supposed to be like a really good. He's not there for his offense. He's there for his way above average defense. But I mean, it's seeming like he was going to be an above offense. I mean, barely above offense, but still above league average offensively. making him extremely valuable. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. I don't know if how to look at catchers, just numbers in general. I don't know if Real Muto was like that. I don't know if, I know you said Rutschman too, but this is also like his second full season, I want to say. Like, I know he came up the year
Second or
before,
third.
I think, but it was
Yeah.
like halfway through the season, if I'm not mistaken.
And I mean, these guys take a huge beating behind the plate that
Yeah.
we don't even know about.
Yep.
Just like Austin Barnes, he fractured his toe. It was all bloodied, but the dude, it happened like around the 6th inning, and he finished the game. So like these guys
Yeah.
never even say anything. They're like they're the backbone of every team most of the time, man. So
Yeah.
you never know what they're struggling with. So when they give you something offensively, it's just like a cherry on top.
Yeah. So what's the answer to that? I mean, maybe if you have like a big time prospect also that can maybe just be his backup to,
That was
not have
such a
Curtis
perfect
Alley back
segue.
there. To, maybe have like someone like Joey Bart, who you just let go for fucking nothing because you had Tom Murphy that you wanted. Okay.
Bartholomew. How can you let Bartholomew
Let's
go?
not have this fight, for the millionth time this year. They should have kept Joey Bart. I've been on that train since the beginning, so please don't come at me with because he's doing good in Pittsburgh. Like, yeah, I've been saying that since they DFA'd him. It made no sense. When they signed Tom
Yeah.
Murphy, I was like, I don't fucking get it.
It's on record.
And I knew Joey Bart wasn't the guy. Like, Patrick Bailey is the guy for sure. But if you have a guy like Patrick Bailey who is breaking down and you want to give him ample rest so Patrick Bailey can have a long career, you should have Joey Bart. But to my original point, Mike Yastrzemski has sucked this week. So that's a thing. And yeah, I mean, he's hitting under 200. And gosh, man, it's just he's the worst out of the bunch right now. A lot of dudes are having bad weeks. I mean, I know Matt Chapman had his 20th home run this week, but he's had a bad week. I mean, trust me, I looked up a lot of numbers for studs and duds, and yeah, not much else I could say about it. Mike Yastrzemski, I love you. Just be better. I guess it doesn't really matter because we're fucking done anyways, but that's where we are. Good.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Well, my stud, I could easily give it to Max Muncy because he came back. He's really, fixed the lineup. But I'm gonna give it to pitching because I feel like, with Glasnow not being there, you need somebody to give you length, and you needed a good start. And Gavin Stone, showed out. I know it's a very bad lineup, but they're still major leaguers, and you still need to get through them. He gave us 7 innings, career high 10 strikeouts on his start. So that was really cool to see.
Did he pitch against the Cardinals or the Mariners or both?
I think he pitched against both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. No, he just pitched against Seattle. His last start was Milwaukee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 5 innings. That one was good too. 5 innings, one earned run. So, if he can pitch a little bit like he did in the first half, even a little resembling that, I think he'll be solid. I don't know if he's quite the guy for the number 4 yet because the way Kershaw's pitching, and because he's seniority, you got to give it to him maybe. But if he keeps pitching well, he might make a case for himself to be the Game 4 starter.
I mean, one thing I did want to look up. I'm looking it up right now. You're talking about Gavin Stone and how he's facing an inferior lineup. There are some guys on the Mariners. So like that's what makes me really confused because Cal Raleigh is like a better hitting catcher. I don't know the ins and outs of everything. So I mean maybe I'm just crazy or high, whatever. But Justin Turner's at first, Polanco's at second, Rojas is at third, who is I guess not like, was supposed to be like really good offensively, but I didn't realize he was that bad either. I mean, they have Julio Rodriguez, who was supposed to be like God's gift to baseball. Yeah, Julio.
Did he get hurt this year?
No, he's
he
still
was
playing
out for a while, right?
No, he's in.
No. I'm saying, but he was out for a while this season, right?
Maybe you're right.
Because I think he was DHing, if I'm not
I don't
mistaken.
know. 420 at bats. He is in 109 games, so I don't think he was out that much.
Okay. Yeah, and they got Mitch Haniger and Wright, who made an amazing throw to get Mookie at the plate. They got
yeah, I
guys.
mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, and Randy Arozarena, Luke Raley, who can hit. So it's kind of weird that they're. I don't know. That's that. I feel like those are.
You're just
those are
making my
guys
take
that-
on Gavin Stone look even that much better. So congratulations to Gavin Stone on a great start.
Yeah, friend of the pod, dude. Gavin Stone.
Yeah,
I'm very happy
Gavin
for you.
Stone, hell
Stoked for you.
And in honor
maybe
of Gavin
we can
Stone, we're gonna get Stone. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, hell yeah. So we're gonna get him back on the pod, right? You're gonna work your magic, and we're gonna make it
Exactly.
happen.
He has
Okay.
no idea who I am, but yeah, I'm gonna make it
Hell
happen.
yeah. Yeah, just call Andrew, Big Andy. It'll be fine.
Hey, Big Andy.
Big Andy. Yeah. So
Sure, this is
there's
a Wendy's.
Stupid. Oh man. Okay. Well, there's the end of that. I guess we could talk. There is something I want to I do want to talk about. I guess my rant of the week. Is that a segment? Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. Hell no, it's
Let's
not.
do
But
it.
I am going to do it anyway.
What grinds your gears? What grinded your gears this week?
What grinds my gears is the fact that the Giants have no fucking direction. You know, I'm gonna the Dodger fans are gonna catch a stray on this because I'm really upset. Every single year we hear about how if the Dodgers don't win the World Series, it's a wasted season. Which is the biggest crybaby, spoiled take in the world. You know what a wasted season is? Is going 500 for the third year in a row and having no fucking direction. This team doesn't know if they want to be slow, boppers who just hit home runs. They don't know if they want to be young and athletic. They don't know what we have zero answers to what the direction of this team is. It is August. The team is dead, and we're gonna have to look forward to two things. One, I'm sure the Giants are gonna sign Brandon Crawford to like a major league contract the last week of the season when we're mathematically eliminated to be like, hey, look, Brandon Crawford, come to the ballpark. We got Brandon Crawford here, and he's gonna be signing autographs and dancing for fans. I don't know.
And Nick Ahmed too. You got to bring back that legend. That infield would be solid, dude. Crawford at short, Nick Ahmed at second.
Hero. Bring the boom, baby. Fucking A.
And Brandon Belt, if he's available, wherever he is, whatever he's doing, bring him back.
He's not playing. Might as well.
Yeah.
Lamont Wade can, they keep on talking about how Lamont Wade, he's not hitting right now just because he's nursing an injury. Well, go on the IL, dude. Nurse it and come back full because it is just painful to watch.
To nurse it.
Yeah, just sit down for a couple weeks, and then I don't know, let Marco Luciano get some at bats. You know what, like you said you were going to do at the trade deadline. The reason that you traded Jorge Soler and he got 21 at bats and you sent him down to AAA. Oh my lord, I can go on for days. There's no direction for this team, and it's frustrating because I feel like I didn't give enough heat for the Dodger fans, and I'm upset about that. The reason why I get mad about the whole, in baseball, you cannot take over a game with one player. This isn't basketball, this isn't an NFL quarterback who can just completely take over a game.
What if the guy is pitching and then he hits home runs to, support himself? What about that?
That could happen, but that is impossible.
So it's possible. And what if that guy is wearing a Dodgers jersey?
Well, and then also if you're talking about playoff implications, he can't pitch every day. Pitches every fifth day, which is once a series, maybe twice. So
yeah, but, I mean, so he has as much effect as a Blake Snell and as much effect as I don't know who your best hitter is. Who, Elliot Ramos?
Yeah,
times
for one
100.
game. Oh, and that's even underselling it because pitching wise, Blake Snell right now in Shohei Ohtani could be pretty comparable, but Shohei Ohtani offensively and anyone else on the Giants roster.
I didn't know who to pick. I'm just
you're gonna have to go. You're gonna have to add two players together, and then maybe. But maybe. Yes, I get what you're saying. But what I'm trying to say is, in baseball, you can't get mad at a manager or even a general manager for not winning a World Series. The best they can do.
You can.
You cannot. Absolutely not. You cannot be upset at them.
Then how did I
because
do it so easily the last couple seasons?
because you're a crybaby Dodger fan who needs a check of reality, and here it goes. All right, the best they could do is give you, the best shot to be in the playoffs as much as possible, and you're bound to, because the baseball playoffs are a crapshoot. Okay, that's just the way it is, and
Everybody hates saying that, though.
it's true, and it's like it's a team that gets hot, which a lot of times it is the best team. I don't know. I want to say at least half the times it's not just with sometimes, it's the fucking Diamondbacks who get really hot. It's the Rangers last year who get hot. It's every year the Giants won the World Series. They were not the best team by far, and they won. That's just the way it is. So you can't get mad at a general manager for not winning a World Series. It's just kind of, it's in a way, it's luck. It kind of is what it is. So yeah, to say you not winning a World Series is a waste of a season. No, a waste of a season is putting together a mediocre 500 team and at the trade deadline doing nothing and being like, well, you never know what could happen. And then they try to sell you on this nostalgia the last couple of weeks of the season. That's a waste of a season. You don't know what a waste is.
I'll give you a counter though. When you
counter me,
like every Dodger fans who are old enough to remember the McCord era, it was shitty, and you're like, yeah, of course, this season it's not World Series or bust. But in comes the new ownership, in comes Andrew Friedman, and they start this, on this course of like, we're going to be good every year. Right. We're not going to be just good enough to get in. We're going to try to be good enough to win it every year.
And so you have been.
But when you get to that point, then it's like, well, yeah, you're striving for that. That's the goal, because nobody's going to feel sorry for you if you just got to there and be like, that's successful. It's not.
100%. I agree with you. It's all about winning the World Series. 100%.
And when you're spending as much as they are, I would think you want to get something out of it. I mean, obviously for them, it's different because they're getting so much money back already. They've already got their investment back.
Yeah, they don't,
so they can say like, hey, it's all about winning and all this, but they already getting their money back like daily from all these, all the companies that Ohtani's bringing in. But I think you can't keep going out there. If Roberts fails, if it's his choice to bring out a certain pitcher, he makes the wrong choice. It is on him a little bit, right? It's on him and the players. No. So what does he do then? Like if he's the one making the choices to bring in certain players at certain points, he's the chess master out there at certain moments. It has to fall on someone. And I think the easiest person that it'll fall on is the manager.
But that's also, to me, that's also what you would call a scapegoat situation. If he does something, if he does some dumb shit, yeah, obviously, if a close game and it's a closed situation, you start bringing in random dudes instead of your closer, the shutdown closer, or that sort of thing, then that's
my point.
Obvious things. Yes, I can agree with you, but there's also a lot of times that Robert and I hate to be that guy, but there's a lot of times that Roberts gets the heat for things that's coulda, woulda, shoulda. Same thing like we were talking about earlier about why'd they bring in Spencer Bivens instead of Logan Webb? Well, Logan Webb is actually nursing something. We didn't want to go over X amount of pitches, so we couldn't. Okay, what about this guy? Well, we've been using him like crazy. We thought we can get one out against the worst team in baseball. Not even just don't get me started. And then it's like, well, why didn't you use this guy? Yeah, I guess we could have. But that's coulda, woulda, shoulda. This guy could have given up a single up the middle too. So it's like the same situation. Just because it's a negative result doesn't mean it's the wrong choice. The Giants, when the Giants lost to in Game 5 of the NLDS, Camilo Doval was the best pitcher out there. He gave up a ground ball that found a hole. It's the right choice to have him out there. It just didn't get the result that you wanted.
But I don't think that's the point I don't think that's the point we're arguing, because you're right. If he brings out, there's been a lot of times he brought out Kenley Jansen, he brought out the people at the right time, and it didn't work out. Fine. But there's also certain moments where it's like, why in the world is Clayton Kershaw relieving in this game?
This is where you're gonna make me mad, because you're gonna make me defend Clayton Kershaw. And I know what the fuck you're doing, Dave, because here's the thing. That was lefty on lefty. Juan Soto.
A soft tossing lefty versus Soto was never the move. And then once he gave up that first home run, You pull that guy out because he already gave you the you. I don't know if he expected him to go the whole
That was a
way.
good look. Do me a
It
favor.
wasn't a bad
Every
pitch.
Dodger
It
fan
wasn't a
listening,
bad pitch. I understand that it wasn't a bad
go
pitch to
back to that
Rendon.
highlight. That was a good ass pitch. Juan
But he had
Soto
no
is
business
just
being
a
out
good
there. He
baseball
had
player.
no business relieving.
He
And
literally
you can
relieved what he relieved before in the postseason and got a save.
that was what, like 3 years prior?
Okay,
Or
3 years ain't that long ago.
But he's not a reliever. If like our season comes down to Kershaw relieving, where there's a problem when you had other choices.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking to a guy who the reason that there's multiple World Series on here is because Tim Lincecum came out of that bullpen and dominated. There's Madison Bumgarner came out of that bullpen and dominated. So
And that's fine.
I don't know.
That's fine, but like
Clayton Kershaw was still a guy at that point. I understand he's not had a bad season. He's not a guy anymore because he's just not Cy Young Kershaw anymore. But at that time, he was still a guy.
you can defend a lot of Kershaw moves by saying there wasn't anybody in the bullpen before when he started. I won't defend that one, especially when you had a bullpen and it's everybody go in a game 5. Like it's everybody's hands on deck.
But
you can't wait to give somebody their moment. And that's one thing that I don't like with Roberts. He waits too much to give people their moment. And he's too loyal to a fault.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I understand it was a bad result, so it's hard for you guys to swallow this pill. But if you look at your bullpen and you got one of the best pitchers in baseball, you don't give a fuck if it's out of the bullpen. You call the guy. And that is the point of all hands on deck. He didn't get called out because of anything, but it was all hands on deck. It's game 5. We need everybody. And Kershaw was like, I got this shit. And to his point, I'm sorry, but the home run to Soto was a really good pitch. Who was the other home run to? Was it Howie Kendrick?
No. The home run to Soto was not a good pitch. The home run to Rendon was a good pitch that he like got off the ground.
I think you have to relook at that up.
Yeah, I think the
one to Soto was a good pitch that was out of the zone. That Soto, I want to say I'm not lying.
Maybe sure I don't know, but I think the one to Rendon was the one that was actually more impressive because he like how did he get that one out?
I don't know if it was more impressive, but I remember having fights about it with somebody that was just saying the same, it's just, Kershaw. And this, I was like, dude, I don't know. Then we watched, and I was like, that's a good fucking pitch. I remember, I don't know.
I don't agree with that move. Also, what was it, game 2?
But that's also coulda, woulda, shoulda. Because here's the thing. When Kershaw came out of that bullpen, everyone was stoked. When I saw Kershaw out of that bullpen, I thought, all right, that they're not scoring this inning. That's what I thought. But then again, I mean, there's also the playoff Kershaw thing. But you don't think that when you're the manager and you are actually playing the game, that's only a fan thought. I'm sorry, but that's just
But I mean, like I said, game 2, he took out a starter 4 innings in, who was dealing. What was the effect of that? He took out Rich Hill in game 2 versus the Astros because he didn't want him to face the lineup a third time. But he was dealing. The effect of that was that we ended up with Brandon McCarthy, who had never relieved, who said afterwards he wasn't comfortable. He wasn't ready he couldn't get ready in time. And the game was over. The series completely turned from that point. Sure, they were cheating. I get that. It's everything else is under a microscope. But when you're at home, that move really screwed you. So there is
I would agree with that he's made.
There is some moves that he's made that you can't defend. I'm 100%. Not going to be here and be like, oh, he put the right guy in and he failed. That's on him. That's ridiculous.
100%. In that argument, I will give you 100 times over. And that also, but the way you're describing it though, sounds like that is a front office move more than a manager move. If you're talking about Dave Roberts being
a combination. But in that instance, everything has to go perfect. Every reliever has to come in and be perfect. Yeah, there was no room for error. And because Kenley messed up once, that's what it, I hate when John Smoltz makes that he says that, but it's true. You're counting on every reliever to come in and be nails. And sometimes if even just one of those guys isn't, it ruins everything.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, it's if a reliever has a 2 ERA, they're great. That means every 9 appearances they give up a run, and when it's a reliever, 1 run is a big deal. So it's like, and if you're like, splitting it up between games, that's a lot of relievers giving up runs. So I get what you're saying, 100%. And if you're making that argument on that argument, if you're making the argument why he should be fired, that argument that you just said, I will agree with you 100 times out of 100. But at the same time, I'm not sure if he could get fired if it's one of those decisions where it sounds like it was a premeditated front office move. I could be wrong, but
And back to the original point, which is it World Series or bust? A lot of people are just demeaning before this season, or
right.
like, saying that the regular season doesn't matter and whatever. This season is completely different. There's so much parity. Everybody's really close. But in years past, winning 115 games didn't mean anything. Like, it didn't guarantee you anything. So people started to like, well, it doesn't matter. Regular season. Now all that matters is the postseason. Well, if that's all that matters and you can't get it done, then, I mean, where does the blame go?
No. Well, doesn't mean that so half of that is correct in my opinion. Like, yeah, it's a World Series or, doesn't matter. It doesn't mean it's a wasted season. Like my thing is fans can't be like it's World Series or it's a wasted season. It's like you just sound like a spoiled little crybaby, in my opinion.
Again, it
Like
depends on the team,
you want
though.
your team, you want the team to think that way. It's World Series or bust. We're all hands on deck, yada yada yada. And I agree with that. But if you're like, oh, it's World Series or it's a failure and the team sucks, then you sound like a crybaby to me.
I
It's like,
think you're definitely spoiled, because if you're saying that, that means you have a really good team that's expected to be there. You're not saying that if you're the Pirates. You're not saying that if you're the Colorado Rockies. You're like, hey, let's just hope some of these guys develop, and who knows what happens this season. But if you have a good team, then I think the mindset changes.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not saying that the mindset doesn't change but I'm just saying like you can't expect that as a fan base. It's like I want everything or nothing, leave me alone. That is a spoiled fan base to me.
It definitely is a spoiled mindset, because
I'm not saying not
really
be disappointed. I'm not saying like, hey, you should be happy with it, but you can say, oh, this is a wasted season. Why do I like?
Yeah, because at that point you're constraining yourself to not enjoying anything else.
Exactly. I'm sorry, but a deep postseason run, that's a good fucking season. I don't care what team what team you are.
I think we said it before the season started. I think we both made our prediction. I'm like, as long as they get to the NLCS, I don't think it's, because it's their first year together, gelling and everything. I'm like, if they get there or even to the World Series, it's a success. But that's not how everybody's going to view it, because this team has the talent to win it all.
Right. And you don't want obviously you want your team to feel like it's World Series or bust, but as a fan, like there's no team that, I mean, the most is the Yankees at 27 and they haven't won one in fucking 15 years. So like, yeah, you're not going to win the World Series every year. You just sound stupid. And
going back to back is like, it's almost near impossible.
Exactly. So like, you want to hear about a wasted season? I'll tell you about 3 wasted seasons that we just had these past couple of years. So, yeah, I feel like we might be on the same page. We might disagree a little bit on.
Yeah, just a little tweak, because you can't also say it's a wasted season when you see your team going for it, right? Like
exactly.
They spend this much money.
100%.
They make some trades to try to fix holes. Like they're obviously trying. It's not like we got this, we're just gonna run with what we have. Injuries or whatnot, we're not gonna do anything. Then it's different.
I mean, this is a whole nother segment. We're running late, so this is a whole thing for another time. But I also feel like owners don't even care about winning World Series. I think owners care about being in the playoffs every year. I don't think that they're ever World Series or bust. Maybe we can talk about that next week, because I feel like that might be a can of worms to talk about.
Yeah,
but I feel like
talk about that, because there's definitely a lot to unpack there for sure.
Yeah, I think the owners would much rather be in the playoffs 10 out of 10 years and not win a World Series than to go to the playoffs 4 out of 10 times with 2 World Series.
Especially for the Dodgers, man, they're raking in the money. That's a successful plan. They're in the playoffs every year.
I think ownership is happy as can be. I think if the Dodgers don't win a if the Dodgers are on this trajectory, the same thing, and they don't win a World Series, and this happens like another 15 years, I don't think ownership gives off. I mean, sure, they would like one, but they would rather that than win a World Series this year and then tail off for
You get lucky when you have the kind of owners that are like Bomber and like, I don't know any other examples that like they want to win and they're like they basically say it as much. But there's others that are like, hey, as long as we're successful, like that's good for me. Like that's good for my
Playoff
pocket.
money.
So yeah. And then
Like,
you have the other guys who are like,
give up
hey,
your
I
top
don't even care
prospects
about
to-
winning. Just give me your money.
exactly. Like they're like, give up all of our prospects to where we can't be good in 3 years, but go all in right now. How about fuck off and I count my playoff money for the next 5 years? So
Exactly.
do that. So but yeah, well, we can talk about that another time. I gotta before we head out, because I know we're over already, but I want to see if you want to give some. These numbers are a lot closer than I thought. This is another thing the Giants have to look forward to discuss and fight for the next year. This is what we have to look forward to because we have a wasted fucking season. This is what a wasted season is. But Dave, what season do you want? I want you to look at this. Those who are audio only, we're comparing two players. We got player A who has a WAR of 2.9, who's played 76 games, 69 hits, 16 home runs, 16 stolen bases, batting average of 295, OPS plus a 160, and an OPS of 926. And you look at player 2, it's a guy who has a 3.5 WAR, but he's also played 123 games. He has 18 home runs, only 2 more home runs than player A. All the average stats are lower, which obviously with less plate appearances, it makes it harder to do, but it's 291, which is pretty similar. OPS plus a 125, which is a lot lower, and then OPS of 800, which is a lot lower. Who do you think's having a better season there, Dave?
So who can you give me the teams?
No, because that will be giving it away.
So somebody came back from injury or was playing really well before injury. And the other guy has just been really, he's
consistent.
He's okay.
Ooh, is that what happened? I love how we're playing Mr. Clue here. I know the
somebody came back from injury or was called up. But obviously you got to go with player A, right? Like he gives you he has speed and he's proven that. He has almost as many home runs.
He has the same sprint speed as Ellie De La Cruz.
So he's got and he's got power, obviously. He's already almost matched the same amount in half the time. So, I mean, obviously go to player A, but, who is it?
It is Rookie of the Year hopefuls, Jackson Merrill and Tyler Fitzgerald.
Interesting.
And this is stealing from another. I saw a podcast did a blind reveal about 5. I think it was like 5 games ago. But I wanted to do it with you. I'm sorry. I know I'm technically stealing your content and I'm not shouting you out. I apologize. But you just came up on my YouTube and I saw it and I wanted to. I mean, I really want to make my point just talking about how we have a wasted season. And this is what we have to look forward to. But I am sorry for not shouting you out, and I'm not trying to take credit for your idea. But we've been hearing how Jackson Merrill. I mean, Paul Skeens is going to win the NL Rookie of the Year unless he just.
I don't know, man. I don't know now. He's had a couple of rough starts, or not rough, but he came back to earth.
That's what I thought, but I looked at it and he still has. I looked at his last 4 starts. The worst one was 6 innings, 4 earned runs. That's not that much.
I hate the argument that he's not an everyday player. Because it's like, well, dude, he's a pitcher. That's just what it is. Too bad.
Exactly.
But I mean, this is a guy. It's when you think about it, it's 1 versus 9. He's out there, dominating the complete team. And while Jackson Merrill maybe has more moments and game-changing moments, sure, but you have one guy literally dominating a whole squad. Right. Giving you enough time to try to win a game.
Argue that they're out there for defense all 9 innings. So
obviously, I mean, I think there's arguments for both.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I don't know what Jackson Merrill's doing. It's kind of incredible too, man.
No, for sure. And this is mainly the argument for second place because here's the thing too. He is just a darling of baseball right now, Paul Skeens. There's almost no way that they're going to overtake him. And honestly, it's probably deserved. 2.3 ERA, You're striking out 121 over 98 innings, so you're dominating. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like he's for sure going to win it. But I don't know. I feel like Tyler Fitzgerald, man, I think he should get a little bit more love as the second. And obviously he has to keep it up for the next, I think I did the math, it's like 36 games left. So,
well, definitely. If he can keep it up, then he should get a little bit of love on the conversation.
The only problem is if Merrill is stays pretty close, but at the same time has played more games.
Oh, I just don't think there's any way Fitzgerald comes close. He's a distant third.
Really?
Just because of the games, right? Like,
I don't know, because here's the thing. He's going to end the year, obviously if he doesn't get hurt, with 100 games. And then Merrill's going to end the year with like what is he at, 120? So, right? 120? Did I read that right?
Yeah.
Let's bring it back
here the whole season, right?
Yeah, 123. So 100, probably like 150 games. 150 games, maybe. Yeah, so 100.
I wish I could be on your side, but I don't think so. And it also sucks because Merrill's on a team that's surging, while the other two are on teams that are not playing so well. And that for some reason it always goes against them, regardless of how they're playing.
Though. That shouldn't even matter.
It shouldn't, but that's always the conversation.
You're right.
And I always see it like, oh, they're, where would they be without him? Blah, blah, blah kind of thing. I'm like, well, where would they be without Manny? Where would that be without Bogarts? Where would that be without all these other guys surrounding him?
Yeah.
That's kind of where the other guys are at. They don't have the same kind of surrounding cast. So it does suck. There's a lot to take in, but I still think, I don't know. It's gonna be a lot closer than I originally thought.
Damn you, Scuba Steve. Yeah, I guess you're effing right. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like he should get a little more love, and I really hope he does get that third spot at least and gets,
what I don't like is how, and I say it a lot on the time, is how they try to downplay how great Skeens is. Like, you can say that Merrill has been really, really great. You don't have to tear down Skeens, like acting like he's not a generational talent.
Yeah. So. And I'm sorry, but I don't know. Maybe it's just podcasts who are just really pushing Merrill, but he's not taking over Skeens. Even if Skeens had a 3.5 ERA, Skeens is going to win just because of his hype. But he has hype, and on the baseball side, he's living up to it too. So I feel like it's a surefire slam dunk, and he's got like the youth because of his girlfriend. So I feel like
if Merrill does win it, it's because the Padres got into the playoffs. He helped them, and I feel like that'll maybe skew writers into giving it to him, but it's not like he's not deserving either. But yeah, Fitzgerald, distant third, distant fourth. I don't see it unless he completely just keeps
distant fourth. Why is he catching strays all of a sudden?
Hey, because he's played 76 games. I mean,
well, he's gonna play like 100 at the end of the year.
And we'll see what the numbers look like then.
Plus defense at a premium position at shortstop. I mean, Merrill is too. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm just, which I'm saying, it all really depends how the ending stats are, and we can get into that, obviously at the end of the year. But I don't know.
Yeah, I thought this was a case of like somebody coming back from injury and be like, look how valuable this guy is. But a rookie getting to start that late,
look how valuable he is.
Unfortunately, it's different because
had Nick Ahmed at shortstop.
He doesn't have the volume.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Giants get into the playoffs,
that's another part. What did you say?
If the Giants get into the playoffs, I think his resume looks a little bit, it gets a little more elevated.
I hope not, because that means nothing. That means nothing to me in that race. It means everything to me in my life. I want the Giants to make the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't know. You just ruined my day. So, but that's what we have to look forward to. That's what I look forward to this next month, is just hopefully his stats stay up there to where he can get third. And that's a wasted season, because here's the thing. What's funny is Tyler Fitzgerald, I believe he was on the opening day roster. Or he was called up really early. I'm 90% sure he was on the opening day roster, and he was just, the utility guy, plays a good center field. He's bouncing around. He had good numbers. but he was not getting consistent play. He made a pretty dumb move on the base pass. I even forgot what it was. And then they sent him down like to punish him. And it's like, look at what you missed out on because you want to be stupid and make like, I get it. Like he made a stupid move, but it wasn't like a bonehead move that like, he was being lazy or didn't run out of ball. I think he was too aggressive and got thrown out. And it's like, okay, yeah, it sucks in the moment, but you want that shit. You want a guy who's aggressive trying to make things happen. So yeah, like teach him a lesson, maybe sit him down a game, but you missed out on a whole season because you guys are fucking idiots, dude. And there's no direction of this team.
Same thing happened with.
Did I say that?
Yep, same thing happened with Pajes. When he first came up, he was making a lot of bonehead running plays, and I thought he was going to get benched, but Roberts is like, hey, it's the growing pains, man. We talked to him, he's going to learn from it, and that's one way to handle it. Another one is to be like, hey,
that is the literally best way to handle it.
Yeah,
that is the best way. That's a good way to handle it, and you put someone who's good in your fucking lineup. But we do things differently over here.
Let's end this on a good note, and since he's mad right now, let's end it while he's mad.
Yes, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform as well as YouTube, Instagram Benches Cleared Podcast, TikTok Benches Cleared, and Twitter Benches Cleared P. And thank you so much for listening.
See you next week. It out for so long this episode, and we'll hope to see you next week. Hopefully Jesse's feeling a little happier next week. If not, I'll be happy, but we'll see.
I will not. So thank you guys. We'll see you next week.